to not have a guy like Worley in the lineup?
You know what? We're not even going to focus on not having him. We're going to focus on the guys that are there. And, you know, we've got Ishmael Banks back this week. We still have Terrell. We still have a number of guys that can go in there and make plays.
You mentioned Banks coming back. What have you seen out of him, if you've seen anything out of him the last 3 weeks? And do you feel like he can come right back in and have an impact this week, not having played yet this season?
You know, he's a fifth-year senior that's played in a lot of big games. He's a guy that's kept himself fit. I mean, he was working against the offense. So he was working against some of the best wide receivers, you know, in the conference. And, you know, I think he's a kid that's eager. He's humbled. I think he's looking forward to the opportunity.
Do you feel like Jalen Myers is a guy that's close to being able to get an opportunity quite a bit?
I mean, you know, you can see, you know, throughout practice, the last couple of weeks we've increased his reps, and his understanding of the scheme is starting to become, you know, to the point where we can trust that we can put him in a situation and he can be successful.
Well, how did he do in the handles at the end, right?
He did fine. I mean, he did fine. I mean, it's a process. I mean, you don't want to just throw a kid in there that's only been on campus 3.5 weeks and not have the reps the other guys have had. So we're still trying to get him to the point where he's mastered the position, and that's from fundamentals and techniques and things like that that go along with what we're trying to do schematically.
That's a situation where, you know, obviously the game is on the line, right?
Right.
But you could have thrown in a number of guys.
Exactly.
And they needed 2 corners in that one play, though.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's there now where he would be that next
Yeah, I think, you know, right now his body's caught up to where, you know, the other guys are. And I mean, he's in good shape. I mean, he's a very talented individual that we've got to find a place on the road for.
Coach, is there anything different that Oklahoma presents to the defensive secondary that possibly we haven't seen from anybody else?
You know what? I think they're very similar to Alabama. I mean, they're going to do the quick screen games. They're going to try to do some isolations with number 3 and number 5. But as far as, you know, route combinations, they're very similar to Alabama.
Coach, what's this environment going to be like? I mean, is this pretty much why you come to Morgantown?
We need it all.
Well, that's what Gibby keeps telling me. He says it's going to be live, and you know, that man trip's going to be exciting, and the fans are going to be, you know, chomping at the bit to see a good game. So I'm excited about seeing these fans on a Saturday night, you know, versus Oklahoma.
Now starting the Big 12 conference slate, you know all these teams are going to challenge you vertically. I guess, how do you prepare your guys? I'm sure, you know, that's what you've been doing all summer, right?
Well, you know what's been good? You know, 2 out of the last 3 games, we've played against very good talent. Long at Maryland and Diggs, I mean, they can stretch you vertically. I mean, they pose some challenges. Amari Cooper and that group of guys at Alabama, I mean, we've been defending some pretty good guys, and we've been in some situations where we're being a man-to-man probably 50% of the time in most of those games. So I'm feeling pretty good about where we are. I mean, we've been exposed to a lot of things. We've made some plays in some critical situations, and you know, we've managed to be vertically sound, and that's the most important thing.
C.J. Brown doesn't have the national reputation of a Trevor Knight, but Tony Gibson had said, you know, he kind of surprised you guys with some of the things he was able to do. Was that a better test than what you expected in preparation for this week against Oklahoma?
Well, I mean, every week we think it's going to be a test. I know, you know, the talent level at Townsend is not going to be the same, but when you start to get into scheme, I mean, we've faced some pretty good schemes where you've run the gamut now. You've seen 21 personnel, you've seen 12, you've seen 10, you've seen 11, and you've seen quarterbacks that can drop back, you've seen quarterbacks that can scramble. It's been a good mix, and you know, it's going to bode well for us when we get in the game.
Explain the dynamic that